So good evening, everyone. My name is Tanya Jarrett, and I'm with the Corporate Wellness Department at Penn Medicine Lancaster General Health. And our team is super excited to bring you this webinar presentation, which is called Simplify Your Life, because I don't know about you, but we could all use a little simplicity in our lives, especially as the holiday season is just barging in. You know, our educator who we have here, Liz Krantz, she is incredibly knowledgeable, and her goal is really to focus on coming home to ourselves during this presentation. And she's going to really provide us with some great tools and strategies to reconnect with our physical selves, our emotional selves, so that we can put our own well-being in the forefront. So if you do have your cell phone handy, we are going to be using it. This is an interactive presentation. So we will be using a platform which allows us to interact. And I did want to let you know that all responses are anonymous. So just to clear the air about that. If you do not have your cell phone handy, you can go ahead and grab it if you'd like right now, or you can pull up a web browser. And I will give you more information as we pull up Poll Everywhere when Liz is ready. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, my friend.
All right, thank you, Tanya, and thank you for your kind words. As Tanya said, my name's Liz Krantz, and I'm also with the Corporate Wellness Department at Penn Medicine Lancaster General Health, and I'm really pleased to be here with you this evening, and I'm glad that you took the time to do this. And I find this work to be so satisfying and so relevant right now, because I don't know about you, but I don't have a day that doesn't have unexpected things occurring and different stressors that are tugging at my life. And stress is a really natural part of all of our lives prior to COVID-19. But now here we are trying to manage all of the things that we've always managed. And also we're dealing with it in the middle of a changing landscape that sometimes during the day we're thrown curves that we weren't expecting. And I feel sometimes it's sort of like roller skating blindfolded with someone saying to you, well, there's a curve coming up, but you don't know when or where. And it can feel a little wild. So my hope for you this evening is that you can take away something for yourself. We're going to do a bunch of different things. And I hope that something will fall within and take hold within you, that you'll be able to give it a try later. It's okay if everything doesn't resonate that we do, but I offer these things to you as tips to take care of yourself. So one thing that I'm thinking about is that we've been in this period of time, this COVID-19 time now, for multiple months. And even though most of us are used to a somewhat new normal, it doesn't mean that it's easy. And actually, it's not even that normal, since numbers are changing and things are changing and the holidays are coming. And we're heading into a different season here in Pennsylvania, where it's colder outside and not so simple to be outdoors with people that we care about and love. So I like this definition of stress. And this definition is that stress is a feeling, a lack of control over something that matters to you. And I feel that that's really relevant, because underneath every stress I feel, there's something that I care about, something I want to do well, a person that I care for. There's something underneath it that matters to me, which is why feeling out of control about it can feel not so great. So I want us to think right now, I want you to think of one thing that is currently causing you stress. And I want you to put that into the Poll Everywhere. So actually, Tanya, we need them to download that. So I'm gonna.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is you don't need to download anything. I'm just going to share my screen, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of instruction.
Okay.
So if you have capability to see my screen, this is great. So I'm going to go full screen here. Okay. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to take your smartphone or phone, whatever you use, and you're going to pull up a text message, like you're going to text somebody, and you're going to text HealthWorks, where you would put the number to text the person. So instead, it's going to be HealthWorks in all capitals. And then you're going to, in the message part, put that specific number that you see at the top of the screen. If you are on a web browser, you can go to polev.com/healthworks, and that will pull up nicely for you. Okay, so we'll give you a second to make sure that you have that under control. And as soon as you do text that number, I'm actually doing it right now. As soon as you text that number, you will get something back saying you are, in the HealthWorks room. Oh, I'm sorry, I told you that backwards. You are texting, I can't see it because it's on my screen here, 1 second. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. You're texting HealthWorks in the message. And then the number that you see at the top is where you're going to put, say, the number that you would text somebody. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. If anybody's familiar with Zoom, you know that when you're sharing a screen, you have like all this stuff at the top. So things get hidden, so I apologize. And if you would want to give a thumbs up, if you're in, feel free. And then Liz, you can go ahead and take it away.
Okay, great. So I want you to write one thing, just use one word that's causing stress for you currently. And the reason it's just one word is because it will break the words apart. And so just, if you can, encapsulate it into one word, that's great. Unknowns is a good one. Okay, school, yes, is a huge stress. Work and coronavirus and parenting. And so I also work in a school. I work in an elementary school with kindergarten through 6th grade students. And I can tell you that every day we just don't know what's going to happen. And it's really challenging. And thinking about how to help parents and families and children navigate this time is such a source of stress I understand totally for you as a parent, and it's the same way for the kids and for the teachers and administrators, and overworked and the unknowns. All of these things, you can see the larger words are showing more people are saying those things. So the larger the word is, it shows that a higher number of people have written those things in. So it kind of shows you the importance of it. So there are so many great things here that are really, really awful stressors. And so that's exactly why we're doing this tonight. And what I want us to begin with is our physical bodies, because no matter where you are, your body is with you. It's with you all day long, all night long, all the time. And yet we ignore it a lot. And it becomes a reflection of how we're feeling. So we know that long-term stress has really terrible effects on our actual health. It can create all kinds of problems with our bodily systems, our cardiovascular system. It can cause muscular problems. It can cause all sorts of things that affect our mental well-being too. So that's why we're going to begin with our physical selves, because we need to take a pause sometimes and come back home, if you will, to our bodies. So that's where we are. Two things that help most during stress are adequate rest and sleep and movement. Those are two really big, very impactful areas that even just doing small things to take care of ourselves can have really great effects. So I want us to focus on that first. Adults need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night. And we know that sleep has rejuvenative qualities. It rebuilds our bodies, so to speak, while we're resting, when we get good rest. So I want you to think about this. How much sleep do you get a night? And go ahead and write that in next. We know that adults need between 7 and 9 hours for true rejuvenation. And that when you get enough sleep, you are not only lowering your stress levels, but you are improving your mood, you are improving your immune system, and it helps you maintain a healthy weight too. So all of these things can be really helped by just getting a good night's sleep. So most of you get between 5 and 7 hours, and some of you between 8 and 10. That's great. I'm really happy to see that no one is getting less than 5 hours, and not surprised that we're getting more, no one's getting more than 10. So my next question is, what keeps you up at night? Because often our sleep is impacted by our day. So what, and again, try to, if you can, think of it in one word, a baby, yeah. Mm-hmm. All of these wonderful answers: work and worry and children, racing thoughts. Yeah. So I'm seeing some of your stressors pop up as things that keep you up at night. And I know that for myself, if I fall asleep and I stay asleep, that's fabulous. But so often if I do wake up, it's hard to turn my mind off. And I'm sure that it's that way for you too. There are some things you can do to help. So I'm going to let this list keep going here, because you can see just life, the to-do list, the unfinished work, somebody had said before, lots of worry and not done working. Yeah. So when the mind is activated, it's hard to turn it off. But something that you can do to help yourself is to try to refocus on your physical self, because the mind is not very good at that. So we're not good at multitasking in the middle of the night or when you're trying to sleep. So if your mind is going and that's what it's doing, then that's what it's doing. But if you can shift the focus to your body, it deactivates your mind enough to hopefully help you get more rest. So we know that having a wind down routine can really help. Things, just simple things like cutting off when you're having caffeine in your day, or turning off devices about 30 minutes before you are trying to get a restful night's sleep. Exercising during the day, all of those little things can help you quite a bit. But if you are finding yourself in the middle of the night and you've got all of these thoughts and all of these things that haven't been finished, how do you shift it back to your body? So there's a technique that we're going to actually practice a little bit right now, and it's called a body scan. This is putting that piece into practice, so shifting it to your body. So what I want you to do right now is just relax where you are. You can turn your camera off if you wish, or you can leave it on, it doesn't matter. But mostly I want you to just settle back in whatever seat you're sitting in. Allow your eyes to close. And if you don't feel like closing your eyes, then just take a soft focus and take a deep breath in and let it go. And as you let it go, just see if you can't let some of the tension from your day drip off your body. Take another deep breath in. And with a sigh, let go of some of this day, because here you are, you're here doing something kind for yourself. And this is a moment for you to just stop. Allow your breath to just be normal, natural. And I want you to bring your attention to your toes and your feet. And I want you to see if you can feel your feet wherever you are right now. Can you feel your shoes or your socks, or maybe your feet are bare? Are they cold or are they warm? Are they aching, or do they feel at rest because you're able to prop them up? Your feet hold you up all day long, and they work pretty hard. And now I want you to bring your attention up to your ankles and your lower legs. See if you can notice them. And if you don't feel anything at all, that's okay too. Allow your attention to continue moving up your body to your knees. See if you can feel them. You can even say a little thank you to them for all the work they've done today. And now moving up to your thighs and the upper part of your legs. See if you can notice what it feels like for them to be supported by wherever you're sitting right now. Are your muscles relaxed? And moving into your hips, you can even wiggle them a little bit. And wherever you're seated right now, allowing that resting position you're in to just fully support you so that you can feel totally relaxed right now. And moving around to the front of your body, I want you to feel your belly. You may even move your hand there and see if you notice your breath coming in and out of your body, if it moves your belly. And moving up your trunk to your chest, feeling your heart. You may even move your hand there. See if you can notice your heartbeat. And breathing in and breathing out. Allow your attention to go down your arms, to your hands and your fingers. And see what you notice. Maybe even rub your fingers together with one another just to see what your own hands feel like. Are they soft or rough? Are they hot? Are they cold? And allowing your attention to come back up into your neck and your shoulders. And up all along your spine. See if you can feel your spine wherever you are right now. Again, supported by whatever chair or space you're in. And now allow your attention to come into your neck and your jaw and your face. What does it feel like to have the oxygen that you're breathing come in through your nostrils? Is it cool? How does it feel in your throat? Is your forehead relaxed? Coming all the way up to the tip of your head. And taking another deep breath in and letting it go. I want you to just thank your body for all it's done for you today. And allow your eyes to open. And bring your awareness back to our session. So that exercise is called a body scan. And it is one that I use frequently when I wake up at night. Another thing that I do that might help you as well is to just try to focus on whatever physical sensations you feel if you are waking in the night. So noticing the warmth or coolness of your sheets or your blankets, noticing how your body feels in your bed, because again, it deactivates your mind if you can bring your attention to your physical self. Even just paying attention to your breathing, your breath coming in and going out can help you a lot. Another tip for not being able to turn your mind off is having the image of a box And sometimes I have more than one box. This also works for me if I'm really awake. And I take my thoughts and you categorize them, like tomorrow or yesterday, or that's a worry. You can give it either an emotional name like worry, or that's a fear, which kind of goes along with worry, or if you're angry about something, if you can label it, it allows you to just kind of put it aside and put it into a box. And also, I find the yesterday, tomorrow is very helpful to just be able to say tomorrow. That's for tomorrow. Because the work is never finished. And even if you stayed up all night long, every night, your work would never be finished. And I think sometimes even just acknowledging that can be very helpful and kind to yourself. So these are some things that you can do to rest at night if you are waking up. The last tip I have for that is to use, if you take your knuckle or even your thumb and put it against your lips, it stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is a very calming or soothing thing to do for your physical self. And we think about how little children often and babies will put their hands in their mouths. So it's a stimulating thing, but it's stimulating the parasympathetic, which is taking you away from all of that stress response. So I hope everybody gives that a try at some point if you are waking up in the night. But there's another thing I want us to focus on, and that's also finding rest during the day. Because I'm curious how many of you give yourself an opportunity to rest during the day. So go ahead and answer that one. So this is not surprising. And I'm very happy to see that some of you are saying yes. So there are huge benefits for giving yourself an opportunity to rest during your day. We know that the CDC even reports that skipping breaks at work can lead to greater stress and exhaustion. So I know sometimes you may feel like there is no chance for you to rest during the day. There is no person or organization saying like, you need to go take a 20-minute break. Or maybe they are saying you need to take a 20-minute break or you need to take your lunch, and you are deciding to work right through that time because your work is so great and the load is such that you don't feel as though you can stop. But I am going to implore you sometime in the next few days to take a rest during the day. Because first of all, we need a rest from our work. We need a rest at work. And the benefits are amazing. So first of all, it reduces inflammation in your body. It stimulates your immune system. So it's keeping you physically healthier just by taking a break. Another thing it does is it gives us, we're actually far better able to problem solve. We have greater productivity when we take breaks. We're also better able to regulate our emotions, so we don't have so many stress reactions, but we have more opportunities to respond to the things we're feeling or experiencing through our day. Also, taking breaks makes us more creative, and creative in any way you want to think of it. Creative at your work, creative in your home, creative in what you're cooking for dinner or having for breakfast the next morning. So taking breaks is very, very important. And so how do we do this when we're at work? You might not have, as I said, an opportunity where you have a sustained length of time to take a break. But what I want you to know is that you can take a break that's even 30 seconds, even 2 minutes has benefit to your life. So taking a break might look like looking out a window and counting on your fingers and taking 10 breaths in and out. That takes less than 2 minutes. just shifting your focus, even if you can't look outside. It is ideal to look outside because nature is going on without us, regardless of what we're feeling, regardless of what we're experiencing. And it's a very rooting and grounding experience to be able to look out a window and notice the weather or notice something that you see that's natural in the world. So this gives great soothing. It releases chemicals in our brain when we are feeling kind of like, oh, right. The world is going on out there. If you can actually physically step outside, that's even better. And even if you don't have a chance to take a walk, even just stepping outside, walking around a little bit wherever you can, great benefits to that. Another thing you can do if you can't get away from your desk and you can't look outside, and you definitely can't go outside, is take a walk in the building that you're in and do it without your phone or without any type of distraction. That is one thing that adults tend to do a lot, is that when we do take a break, we're not really taking a break because actually we're looking at our devices and maybe we are responding, we're checking in with somebody in our family, or we're looking at email, or we're doing something that is rooted to the bigger part of our lives that's outside of work, but it's not really a rest. So putting that phone down and giving yourself a chance, or putting the computer away and giving yourself a chance to just be. If you can't do that and you're eating, then eat something very slowly. That is actually a really interesting experience. So whatever you have with you to eat, taking the time to, again, tune into your body and the flavors you're tasting and the texture of whatever the food is, whether you're enjoying it or not. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're wishing you had something else to eat. But eating something slowly is a nice way to take a brain break. Another thing you can do is, if you have very solitary work, share a break with a coworker if you can, and laugh. Laughter is so important right now. So any of those things that you can do during your workday are things that are going to benefit you. And I want you to remember that practicing something imperfectly is still beneficial. So it doesn't have to be so many minutes or such a long period of time. It can be something very, very small. It's just giving yourself the opportunity to say, you know what, you need to stop. You need to just take a break, take a breath, and then rejuvenate as best you can. So another suggestion is, if you are somebody who has sedentary work, you're at a desk or you're standing or doing something but it's in one solitary sedentary place, then your break might get you moving. That would be a really beneficial way to help your body, get yourself going a little bit. On the other hand, if you're somebody who's doing very physical work, you need the opposite kind of break. So giving yourself a chance to sit down and put your feet up, or just sit down, would be really good. So I want you to think about when right now, I want you to think right now about when you can build in a natural break for yourself during the day. So when can you build that in? That's good. Very good. Lunch, midday. Yes, walking at lunch. That's wonderful. Good. So lunch is a natural time. That's a natural break for you during the day. Maybe between classes is a good one too. And now I want you to, this isn't going to be a question that I'm putting up on the screen or Tanya's putting up for us, but I want you to think about one or two other times that you can put in a break for yourself. And maybe it's in your transition time, like whatever your transition is from your home to your work, or from your work to your home. Often that's a time to give yourself a little break. Sometimes listening to music can be wonderful, but also listening to silence. So just turning your radio off and giving yourself a chance to just have silence in the car, or Going to get the mail, that's awesome. Noticing when you're feeling stressed between meetings, those kinds of things, perfect times. And so take the one time that you said that you can build your natural break in, and then, like I said, try to think of one or two other times that you can be on your own side and give yourself a chance to just be, and see how this helps you. So let me check our time. Okay, we're going to shift focus right now to our emotional well-being. So one of the things I want to focus on is the idea of optimism and gratitude and happiness. And when we are in complicated times and times where we are feeling a lot of pressure and stress, it can be really hard to focus on those things. Because as humans, we're set up not only to be totally scanning for potential danger, but right now it's in our faces all the time. And it's not even necessarily danger, but even just the whole, when's the shoe going to drop? Are my kids going to come home and I'm going to have to find a way to help them be virtual instead of at school? How am I going to do these things? Just that knowing that you don't know, those unknowns that came up, those things are just kind of prevalent in our minds. And so what happens is we begin to worry it like a worry stone almost, or, it's just, it goes around and around. And we're set up to do that. Our brains are hardwired in a sense to be scanning, because it's like, look for the tiger or get eaten by the tiger, right? So it's old. It is a survival instinct, and we're really, really good at it. But the problem is that those grooves make it really hard to scan for things that are positive, because we're constantly focusing on the worries, and it's a natural thing to do. So this wears us down. It wears us down physically, it wears us down emotionally, it wears us down mentally. And we lose our ability to see the positive when we're just bombarded. So how do we do this? First of all, having somebody you can vent to is extremely important, because just acknowledging how you're feeling is very powerful, and accepting that we don't feel great. We do feel stressed. We are worried. We are feeling maybe concerned on every level about multiple things all at once. So acknowledging and accepting the way you feel is a number one important thing to do, because you know what? It's okay. It's okay to feel anything you feel. There's not anybody in this world who's going to tell you that it's not okay to feel the way you feel. And we can frame it. So we have this feeling, and then we can frame it. We feel this way because what's underneath it? That kind of goes back to that definition of stress I was giving you about there's something underneath it that you care about. So if you can say, I'm concerned about my kids going virtual because I want them to have a good education, or because I can't do my work and take care of them, or I want my parents to be safe because I want them to have, I don't want them to get COVID-19, and I don't want them to have this terrible or potentially terrible, since it's different in every person's body, experience. So, but those two things, acknowledging it and framing it, allow us to tame our emotions. So when you are noticing the negative, acknowledge it, accept it. It's okay. Frame it. What matters here to you? And then that allows it to, it doesn't make it go away necessarily, but it allows it to not necessarily be something that's being absorbed by your body. Instead, you're kind of letting it go to a degree. It's like, okay, I know that this is what I'm experiencing. And there are other things we can do too. So there's been a lot of science around neuroplasticity and the brain's ability to change and grow. And so just like those neural pathways that can follow a negative track or be scanning for the negative things, we can actually change our brains to begin to scan for the positive. And that's part and parcel of changing your response to stress. So we can't always make the stress go away, but we can change the way we respond to it. And one way to do this is by scanning for the positive. So looking for things that we might feel gratitude for, or grateful for, or happy about. So I'm going to do another exercise with you. So again, I'm going to ask you to relax wherever you are right now. And again, allow your eyes to close. Just take a deep breath in and out. And as you're sitting here relaxing, I invite you to call somebody to mind who matters to you. Somebody that you love or you care about. And I want you to picture this person and how you feel when you're together. See if you can't play a positive memory in your mind, like a movie. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It could be sharing coffee with a friend, or snuggling with a child, or hugging a partner or a parent. As you recall this positive memory, I want you to see if you can't tune in to the way you felt in that moment. Allow your good feelings and the good feelings that you experience to wash over you. And now bringing you back to the work we're doing together right now. Allow your eyes to open and know that just that very simple thing you did right now actually releases endorphins in your brain. So when we relive our positive memories, we actually relive all of the good things that happened in our bodies when we were experiencing it at the time we were experiencing it. So the happiness, the relaxation, the joy, maybe the laughter, or maybe just the peace and calm of being with someone. All of that just washes over you again. And it's the opposite of stress when we can do that. So how do we relive memories in our everyday? We can do this by finding the things that bring us joy during our day and the things that we feel grateful for. So there is something I want to read to you. It is a quote, but I think it's so relevant here. And this is by a positive psychologist. His name is Sean Aker. And he says that consistently grateful people are more energetic, emotionally intelligent, forgiving, less anxious, depressed, and lonely. And it's not that people are only grateful because they're happier, because gratitude has proven to be a significant cause of positive outcomes. When researchers pick random volunteers and train them to become more grateful over a period of a few weeks, they become happier and more optimistic. They feel more socially connected, enjoy better quality sleep, and even experience fewer headaches than control groups. And I think that's so powerful because it's such a simple thing for us to do, to be able to identify something we're grateful for. And again, it doesn't have to be a grand thing. It can be the simplest thing. So right now, I want you to bring to your mind something that you can identify as a gratitude, something that you feel grateful for, and you can put that into our chat or into our poll everywhere. at all of these wonderful things. And so many of you are grateful for family and your health and having employment. Having a negative test, I think, was probably one of those. The what am I thankful for office pumpkin? That's wonderful. Yes, your dogs, your pets. Pets are so important. So doing this practice of seeking the positive, beginning to scan for the positive, these are great practices to put into place. And if you want to make it even more impactful, write it down. You can put it into your phone or on your device, or you can actually write it in a physical journal, because there's something about the physical act of writing it, the intention, that slows it down. And so when we have an experience that's positive and we slow it down and extend it, it's doing that same rehashing, that reliving of the positive thing that you're feeling grateful for. And you are elaborating it and enriching it just by writing it down in your mind. That allows you to absorb it and link it to other things. So often I find that if I write one thing that's grateful, or I think about one thing I'm grateful for, it does lead to another one. And I'm sure that that's true for you as well. Hopefully, even as you just did this activity of naming one thing you're grateful for right now, there was probably more than one thing you could write. And looking at our little puzzle here, our picture puzzle, so many of these things are things that I too am really grateful for. And so it spreads out like a ripple in our lives. And that's important for us, for our personal well-being. So the last thing we're going to talk about tonight is our personal strengths. And again, this is a different psychologist. His name is Rick Hansen, but he says that how you act and feel throughout your life and in specific relationships is determined by three factors. The first are the challenges you face. The second are the vulnerabilities that are triggered by these challenges. And the third is the strengths you have for meeting the challenges and protecting your vulnerabilities. So if we break that down, it comes down to challenges, vulnerabilities, and our strengths. So we've talked and you've thought about and even written in some of the challenges that we're facing right now. So a challenge we know is it makes it a challenge because it's like a stress. So we can think of it in that same way. But a vulnerability, so we all have our vulnerabilities. Our vulnerabilities are like our Achilles heel. Those are those things that really, they're traits we may wish we didn't have, but we do. So for me, for example, one of my vulnerabilities is I'm so sensitive. I'm very, very sensitive. And I wish I weren't so sensitive. I really do. But I have grown in my ability to both recognize when I'm being sensitive and also how sometimes that can serve me and in a positive way. So let's see. Some of you people pleaser, overcommitted, jealousy, perfectionist. Yeah. So these vulnerabilities affect the way we approach or back away from a challenge. And I'm really glad to see all of these. Look at that perfectionist, how big that is, and inadequate. So one of the big things that can affect people is what I call, and what is called, all or nothing thinking. So it goes hand in hand with perfectionism, which is, and inadequacy, with this idea that I have to be all things, it has to be all things, it has to be all right, or it's nothing at all. And the truth of the matter is there are very few things that have to be all or nothing. And sometimes we can make peace with understanding that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be part of it, and that can be okay. So if you are a perfectionist, and that's something I relate to too, probably the most powerful thing you can do is recognize that really nothing is perfect. And that acknowledgement, framed by what's underneath it, which is probably just that you really, really care about doing a job well. And that is your vulnerability. that can help you apply your inner strength to it, to solving or working through whatever the challenge is. So, basically knowing our vulnerabilities helps us to understand why we act or react the way we do when we're faced with a challenge. And that leads us to our strengths. So what is an inner strength anyway? They're different from fleeting mental states. I'm sorry. They are stable traits or an enduring source of well-being. They're wise and effective action, and their contributions to others. So personal strengths we all have them, and they're a little different for each one of us. So often we share similar strengths, but right now I want you to name one personal strength you recognize in someone you admire. So think about somebody, maybe it's the person you called to mind earlier, and I want you to think about something that you see as one of their strengths. A sense of humor, funny and peaceful. Yeah, a listener. Yeah. Caring is such a big one. Honesty, having a good character. Resilience, somebody who's knowledgeable, right? Okay, so these are all wonderful personal strengths in someone that you admire, and that's wonderful. So we're going to do another exercise here right now. And what I'm going to have you do is take a little bit of time right now to try to identify some personal strengths for you, yourself. So again, I'm going to ask you to just relax. We're not going to do this question quite yet. Just relax, allow your eyes to close or take a soft focus and take a couple of deep breaths and just rest for a moment. I am going to say a strength, and I'm actually going to list several. And as I say each strength, I want you to let it pour over you for a moment. This isn't a self-evaluation, but more an opportunity for you to reflect on yourself. And I want you to consider just a consideration of each trait. You can think about each strength and how it lands for you. I imagine you'll find that you possess each strength, but the degree to which it feels strong in you may vary and probably will vary. So allowing yourself to be relaxed, you can listen as I begin. So creativity, honesty, being an honest person, having a zest for life and a vitality, being full of energy. Curiosity, bravery, being able to stand up for what you believe in, or being able to go into a situation where you don't know the outcome. Being fair and just. Think about your own sense of fairness. Having an appreciation of beauty and intelligence around you. Being forgiving. Being grateful. Being someone who is loving, warm, and caring. Kindness. Leadership. Carefulness and cautiousness. Being a lifelong learner. Having the gift of perspective. Perseverance. Self-control and discipline. Social intelligence or awareness, like maybe you have a good awareness of the people around you and how they're feeling. Sensitivity. Being a team player and a collaborator. Spirituality, being a spiritual person or a faith-filled person. And the last for you to consider is resilience. And as your eyes are closed here and you've allowed those strengths to kind of flow over you, I want you to see if you can't identify one that sort of stood out for you or a personal strength of your own that you feel good about. And as you're allowing that strength to come into your mind, you can open your eyes and you can write it so that we can see what it is. And I thank you for taking the time to recognize in yourself that which is strong in you. And allow this word puzzle to sort of wash over you as we see what one another's strengths are. And I love that. Empathetic. Devoted is such a good one too. And being a problem solver. So I want you to think about whatever you just wrote down and how you can use that strength to help you with your challenge. So kindness goes a long way to solving any problem. Kindness towards ourselves should be the foundational place. So, and not out of being self-serving and not out of being selfish, but because if we can be kind to others, can't we be kind to ourselves? So maybe think to yourself, what would I tell my friend? If my friend came to me with this problem and they were feeling so tired or so worn out or so, what would I tell them? Because you probably would have the right words for that person. And then allow those words to be for you and for yourself. When we can identify our personal strengths, we're able to act upon them. We can recognize them when we're using them, and we can develop them even further. So about 1/3 of our strengths are innate. They're things that have been with us most of our lives or all of our lives, but 2/3 of our strengths are things that we can develop further. So this last little part, maybe you can think about, as I was saying those words and you were letting them wash over you, what was one that you would like to develop further? Honesty, good. Patience. Problem solver. Flexibility. Being calm. Having perspective. Self-discipline. Yeah, lots of patience and conflict resolution and being understanding and knowing that these are things that can be developed. So maybe removing the all or nothing. You don't have to be all of this or none of this. You can find the little tiny places where you have success. And when you have the success and you're grateful for the success and you see the success and you relive it in your mind, you're actually creating a new neural pathway for yourself. And even though it doesn't make the stress in your life go away, those things actually change your ability to respond to stress. And so that you may find that things that would cause you to react in one way aren't as bothersome to you. Because we change ourselves when we change the way that we respond to ourselves and to the world. So I hope that tonight gave you a chance to relax and rest. And I hope that it gave you some tools that you can use in the days to come. And if nothing else, just remember that it's really important to be on your own side. And please rest. Please rest during your day. Give yourself 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You can give yourself 10 minutes. Give yourself chances to rest. Be kind to yourself. Focus on the positive and look for the things, scan for them purposefully that make you happy. And look to your inner strengths, the ones that you have pretty solidly within you, and also the ones that you're hoping to develop. And I want to leave you with one last thought, which is, what is something you are looking forward to? Because when we have something to look forward to, we're already priming our brains to scan for the positive. So I want you to think of, and it can be going to bed tonight. It doesn't have to, none of these things have to be grand. It can be watching a TV show later. It can be having a glass of wine. It could be, or a cup of tea, or having a little bit of a break at Thanksgiving. So something, anything you're looking forward to. Good. Yeah. Yes, having the kids home and taking a break and having the beach, or going to the beach at some point. Clean sheets, aren't they the best? And playing with the dog. I find my dog doesn't really care about much else except if we're home. And he's so happy then. Sitting by the fireplace and making cookies. Yeah, having your kids home from college is such a gift. Reading. Yeah. Finishing your PhD. Woo! Yeah. Family. Yes. Being outside. Can't say it enough. Get outside if you can. Christmas cookies. I'm looking forward to those too. And Thanksgiving break. Dinner. Yeah. And watching TV. Yeah. And being with your family. Hands in the garden. Yes. And that's such a great thing to look forward to. Outdoor walks. Yeah. I thank all of you for coming tonight and for being here. And I wish you the very best and all wellness and health for you. So thank you so much, and do take care.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I wish you a wonderful evening. And Liz, thank you for your expertise as always. It is just so incredibly valuable. So thank you, everyone. You'll receive the recording hopefully tomorrow. All righty. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.